The podcast is back. Welcome to Tasler Guide Service. Join along as my guests and I dive into our outdoor adventures, share some laughs, and of course a few beers. A new episode will be released every other Friday at 5 a.m. I hope you guys have as much fun watching as we did making it.
25 ounces.
That's right.
Bush gave you a bonus ounce.
24 just doesn't cut it.
Just,
I think I got a little bit of that hot sauce up my nose or something.
You're gonna be snorting a lot?
Yes.
Everybody think you're on coke? That's why he fishes all the time.
I couldn't catfish on coke, man. Too slow.
You'd have to do Sudokus on
Maybe
the side.
that's why I like bumping, you know, because you don't have to sit still.
There is something to that.
Oh, it's hypnotic.
You know what? At night,
I can just sit there or stand there, whatever, just
as time goes by.
I like blink like 2 hours. I haven't caught a fish in 2 hours.
It's
You
ridiculous.
just blink, it's just gone like that.
But at night, anchor fishing seems a lot better than during the day.
Some dudes bump at night, and while I bet it works, I enjoy the anchor fishing more. Now, if it came down like a tournament or something where I thought it might be valuable.
If it'd play.
Yeah, I mean, like pre-fishing is something like I'm gonna have to work into pretty much every time I'm on a waterway where you can do that. But if I don't have to, I'm gonna be pretty happy. I mean, but there's not that many night tournaments. There's a few, but I don't like fishing them.
And most of the areas where you're bumping, one of your main concerns is barges, and very few barges travel at night. There was
They're
one.
lit up like a damn UFO.
You
just get out of the
see
way.
them coming.
Yeah, but that's the issue. You have to get out of their way.
But you're bumping. You only got 2 lines in the water. If there's 2 dudes, like that's the easy one.
Yeah.
If you were
that's true.
anchored in the channel,
That's more of a pain.
yeah. But you see them coming from a long ways away, so it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're at. But
But there's a lot of issues at night that
yeah,
you don't
'cause
see
can't-
come up.
Because you can't see.
Yeah.
Was that a joke? You don't see them come up because it's dark.
As the non-cat fisherman here, I'd say the joy of just still fishing, sitting there bottom fishing and
Oh, the
doing
best.
nothing is
You're fishing, but you're not fishing.
Yeah.
just chilling.
Yeah.
You're hanging by the fire, you're having a
Yes.
good conversation, you're drinking a few beers,
Literally.
and all of a sudden you catch an 87.
We're doing this. Like we're
I
literally
just went
doing
with
this.
Spencer last weekend, and I purposely didn't pack too much alcohol because I knew what I would do. And sure enough, I ran out and I chilled out, and it was a good thing because I could wake up in the morning not feeling like total crap.
But you didn't wake up for that
But-
40-pounder.
Well, you didn't wake me up.
Could you not hear the clicker screaming? And I was like, hey Rob, and you're like, you didn't move.
Which is so unusual because I'm a really light sleeper, especially in that scenario. But
I'm not even gonna include it in the video because by the time the fish got in the boat and you weren't awake, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna wake him up now.
do you have any?
I just threw it back.
Is there any video of me in it?
No. I mean, it was
It's just like, hey Rob.
How did that trip go?
we caught some fish. We didn't light them up, but we caught
7 or 8, I think.
yeah.
And you were there a day?
I
Pretty much afternoon,
Did an
night.
afternoon. We stayed the night and then a few hours in the morning.
Say the afternoon we ended up driving. Like we went way upriver checking it out.
Yeah.
I didn't like any of it. We
Oh.
stopped at a couple spots that I thought might be worth it, but the camping area looked like it didn't look comfortable. I wasn't super duper excited about the spot for fishing, so we ended up driving. We went 15 miles upriver, 12.
Oh, wow.
Drove all the way back down, and then went another 7 south of the ramp.
So that island that didn't look good? That you camped at previously?
I didn't want to camp at it again.
Yeah.
I wanted to camp at a new spot, so we just kept going with the hopes of finding a new one. And I'm like, man, we're almost to the next boat ramp, so let's turn around.
Caught some fish. We had a good time.
Yeah.
The weather was amazing.
The weather is amazing. We did fish a new spot.
And thank you for the steaks, by the way, Ryan. I didn't even get a chance to. Yeah, didn't you leave those?
I did.
Yeah, that's what we ate.
Well, when we were planning the trip, Spencer's like, just bring food and beer, and I got everything else. And then Spencer brought food as well.
Yeah.
Say a surplus. Well, I ate
We had to step on the cooler.
First time I ate a ribeye caveman style. Took a fork and just...
That's my favorite ribeyes is on the boat or on the bank.
Oh yeah. You
They're
can
delicious.
cook them like shit and they're still good. Oh, this is mid-well. Still gonna eat it. Still gonna be good.
Yeah, when you fish hard during the day, anything you eat's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You earn it.
And that's what I've learned too, is like more and more fish like hard, like go harder and harder and harder during the day. And in a boat, you could work in time to eat lunch, like cook a lunch. Whereas like kayak fishing, it's not really a thing. You bring like a bar. You know?
Cliff bar quick.
But I ended up just eating the bar because if it's hot out, food doesn't sound that great in the middle of the day. But,
And you're sluggish after, and it slows you down.
But by the time nighttime rolls around, I'm famished. Like I don't want to just eat food. I want to eat all the food. You know?
Yeah.
Fishing's kind of a secondary thing. You got lines out, but it's time to eat.
That was a weird deal because I'd been in Green Bay the whole week. Got home and woke up the next morning, went into work, the office for a couple hours.
Oh, you did get some work done that day.
Yeah, I did get a few things done and then buzzed on down there.
So you're at Green Bay fishing or working? Yeah. Did you get out at all?
I brought my rods. I went up to the pier at the dam there on the Fox River, and there's only a few people fishing, and there's a couple boats out there. The water was super low like it is around here.
I don't know if I got water, but I heard it's lights out up there now.
Well, it probably is on the lake.
No, I heard on the river.
Oh, on the Fox River. It's
not necessarily the Fox, but like there are several rivers up there.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Going hard.
Things have picked up a lot since the cold front started.
Right.
Yeah.
But my struggle was I had no boat. Thought about talking to a guide I know up there. Decided not to because I was like, you know, if you stay up here, then you're still 7 hours away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked, and that kind of changed my mind too. Like, well, if I'm going to do that with Spencer, it's like, are you really going to haul all the way down there and like basically not even stop at home or very briefly anyway? And I just thought about that. I was like, you know what? So I worked my way home and fished several spots, but I just, long story short, I was like running on fumes early mornings and late nights. Lots of alcohol was consumed. And
allegedly.
I was pretty gassed by the time I met up with you, and I was just like...
Yeah, you seem like you're just chilling.
That's why you slept through a 40.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense now.
Contributed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was very, that's, you know, I was very much in that mode of like, I'm just going to watch you do this, Spencer, and I'm going to sit back and drink a few beers and...
It's all right.
Yeah, no, it was, I had a great time.
I make Ryan do that.
I caught my first caught my first blue cat intentionally. I've caught blue cats, but just never ever intentionally fished for them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the whole bumping thing down. Didn't get bit on that.
I think it's like chasing frickin' Sasquatch.
It is weird.
I've done it twice, and I've had one bite that was quite possibly the biggest fish I've ever felt in my life.
No, I doubt it.
It sure seemed
it
like
could have been.
It seemed
but it
like
definitely might not have been.
It was.
Yeah.
He was at least 128 pounds.
He could have been.
The one lesson I learned is you got to instruct Spencer, just keep kicking me, punch me, and wake me up, I guess. It wouldn't have mattered. It's not like it was been, but it would have been life changing. I woke up, we reeled in the fish. I would have been like a zombie, like, all right.
Well, the best part was the next morning, I was like, man, you missed out on that nice one. And you go, oh, ha, 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 thinking I'm joking.
Yeah, I thought you were shit.
I'm like, no, I caught a 40.
Wasn't so
well, your biggest flathead, I about had to kick you to get you up.
You did. You know, I heard it. I was going.
I'm like, Spencer.
I didn't think you were joking like that wasn't impossible from like you didn't catch a big fish. It was more like...
That you slept through it.
I slept through that?
Yeah. No, that...
But I did sleep... I did almost sleep through one when we were with Corey one time, flathead fishing, and you did sleep through it.
That was because we enjoyed ourselves a lot.
Wow. Partook?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been enjoying myself that whole week. I'm quite certain I smoked a flask, and then I don't know how many other beers I had, and I knew it was.
Well, what I was getting at is my biggest flathead that you woke me up for was the same deal as your blue. Like I was awake, I was on my way, just not moving real fast.
I don't remember the first half of that blue fight. Like I was just on autopilot.
I just edited it today. You talked like you were there, like you're just that out of it.
Yeah, it was because I felt it.
Like
but
usually you're like I have a microphone under my chin. And you're a long ways away, and usually you're almost as loud on my microphone as I am.
Yeah.
And then you were mumbling and shit at that point in time.
But it was like I felt it, and it was a jumbo, and I felt it like double over, and I was like, it was night. We showed up at night, so I didn't know what kind of current we were in. It was on his rod. I've never felt a fish on his rod before, so I'm thinking it's big, but I didn't want to oversell it, so I was like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm like, it's a good fish. And then all of a sudden
it was huge.
It was fucking 87 pounds. And I passed on, the first 4? Because I had a pinched nerve in my neck.
You were going to pass on all of them. That
I was,
the
but you didn't get there.
No, I'm not mad about it. Like I said, when I caught that first 80, I said, I wish you would have caught it.
Yeah.
Because I've caught an 80. You've never caught an 80. So it'd be cool if you caught an 80. Now you did. The buddy of mine, James Gordon, he, I think his biggest blue ever was like 40 or 50 or 60 pounds, somewhere in that range. Then he caught 105.
Wow, that's quite
Double up.
Yeah. I think it was 50 something. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
But I know he was missing a lot of the digits between his
He just doubled down on blackjack.
Yeah.
Hit it.
Yeah. Good for him, though.
Absolutely.
And he's a little dude, so him holding that fish, it looked goddamn giant. I mean, it's going to look big no matter who's holding it. It looked especially big with him holding it.
Yeah, 100. That's a.
Well, like I said, I edited that video today. I mentioned that in the video. I was jealous because you holding that 87 added 15 pounds to that video. I was holding.
Well, yours looks pretty damn big too, but
that's a freaking butterball, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's a large.
None of us have the issues that Sam does.
No.
Sam, he don't even like to hold fish, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in his
40
shoes,
looks like a 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is he, 6'7"?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah.
Maybe 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that matters.
But he's got that big frame. You know, like he's got broad shoulders and
a couple different.
That's a Webster
couple different
City
Sams
thing.
we know that make fish look small.
That's true. That's true. The Sam I'm talking about makes the Sam you're talking about look
small.
Sweep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Webster City thing. We used to play in first round of playoffs every year, and they just had frickin' ginormous guys up there. I don't know what it is, but
Further north you go, bigger people get.
need to steal some of that well water and bring it back down here.
Southern Iowa's got 5'10" disease, man. Like I'm fitting in.
I can't spell 5'10", buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Touche.
Forgot my crowd here.
Got a couple vertically
Giant
challenged
Spencer
people
over
here.
Can you turn that light switch on me for me?
You guys are.
I'm offended.
Good. That's what I was shooting for.
Yeah.
No, you guys are like perfect for holding up Bluecats,
Or any fish for that matter.
but especially blues. You know.
I'll make a bluegill look big.
Yeah. I can make a bluegill look big no matter who's holding it. It's just all about working the frames.
Three steps back.
Tuck them fingers a little bit more.
Y'all, you can always tell by the forehead on the bluegill, though.
Stupid
if they're a
pet
big
peeve,
one.
right? People who lip bluegill. Why? I don't like that.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know why that.
Elaborate on that one a little bit.
I just don't get it. Their mouths are tiny. They're not a fish to be meant to be lipped. And then,
So what about a green sunfish? You cool with those?
Just grab it by like a.
But they have a very lippable mouth.
Yeah, they have a little bit more, I suppose. But
I think
I don't
a
know,
lot of people
just looks dumb, I guess.
The spines on the back of the green or the bluegill, they get stuck once, and then they want to stay away.
Okay, here's another one for you. People who use two hands to hold a walleye that's like 15 inches. That I don't know why that they're like.
Well, that's home video. You use two hands, everything looks bigger.
This looks weird.
To me, it depends on who's
know.
holding it. Like, if you have somebody who's never hardly fished and doesn't know how to hold a fish, then sure. Or then big deal, you know. But if it's somebody who's caught a bunch of walleyes and they're trying to pimp out their 15-inch walleye to make it look big.
I don't know if they're trying to pimp it out, it's just how they're holding it. And it's just like.
Well, it's better than the old
do
pipe
that-
days where they just used to grab them by the eyes and hold them up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to kill it,
do that with a 20-incher and it still looks kind of goofy. It's like they got to be about, what, 24, 25 or so before they're two hands.
Earn the second hand?
Yes, there you go, yes.
I'm trying to remember the last one I caught. Oh, last week. Sorry.
Way back when.
Forgot about him.
If we're counting in hours, it's a big number. In days, not so much.
Have you been out much, or?
I was on the Mississippi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
You know,
I sent you a report.
yeah.
That was the only good day.
I heard the Sippy was banging today.
I believe that 100%. Like, I marked so many fish on live scope and side imaging, and sure, sometimes it's tough to tell what they are, but a lot of them where they're at, I could only assume they had to be either channel cats or walleyes.
Are we not talking about bodies of water, or we don't care, or what?
I don't give
We
a
don't give a
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and well, this doesn't matter anyway.
These are giant bodies of water.
It's a business anyway. Clemens Fishing Barge up in La Crosse.
Yeah.
The float up there. He said it. They must have had a big biomass come under the float this morning, because he said they're like limits in less than an hour, like one after another, like nice saugers, and, you know, some decent walleye mixed in. That's fun when it's
Zero saugers.
Yeah, you probably weren't really fishing where they're usually a little deeper.
We went up to the dam and did some vertical jigging, and I snagged a dink walleye in the face.
Well, you shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. And then we caught 2 or 3 drum and 2 or 3 white bass, and said, we're out of here.
I think there's exceptions to the rule, but what I've always found on that river is the saugers are usually in around like
20.
Yeah, like 16 to 20 usually. Maybe deeper depending on the time of year.
Do they school more than the walleye though?
Oh yeah.
It seems like when you catch
there's more of them.
sauger.
They're more of a biomass if you get into them good. There's always like these schools of small ones, and then at night is the one time I've seen saugers come up real shallow up on the rocks to feed. But
I was not super interested in the saugers, and every other boat on the river was, because they were all in.
That's how everybody loves to fish on that river. It's
just vertical at the dam.
Yeah, and that's like the most uninteresting way to do it to me.
But most people are after catching. They're not after fishing.
Oh yeah, they're happy.
So if you can get in that biomass and just stroke sauger.
Yeah,
up,
and they're happy with, like, they're keeping fish that I would be throwing back too.
Yes. Both directions, small and big.
A lot of like 12, 13-inch saugers going into walleye wells, and people are more than happy to keep them.
Tell you what, I couldn't have.
And that's one of the reasons why they want to do that. Go after sauger too, because there's no slot on them. You start targeting walleyes.
I was catching perfect ones.
Yeah.
Every one of them was between 17 and 19 and a half.
Good ones, yeah.
Oh, yes.
For keepers, yeah.
And the 19 and a half, thank God, one of my buddies I was fishing with was texting with his jig just sweeping. And it must have been dragging on the bottom, where he had a big Bowie in his line, and then he finishes text, put his phone in his pocket, and starts reeling, and then it's there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's lucky.
Reels it in, and that, I mean, I've never seen a fish swallow a plastic that deep.
Well, you've been on it for a half mile.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing when
There's blood everywhere.
when their mood is very positive versus negative, or like they'll still like attack things, like you'll hook them under the chin and things like that, or versus like they're all deep throated.
This was the deepest of the deep throats that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen some deep throats, right?
Yeah. Boy, there's like a mother joke.
Gurgling or non-gurgling.
So, moral of the story was, he pulls this fish, gets this fish to the boat, and I net it, and set it on the floor, and blood is flying everywhere.
That fish is dead.
And I'm like, oh, that's gonna be close.
Because 20's cut off.
20's a cut off, and squeezed the fork, and I had to work to get her to 19 and a half. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah. It's already half bled out for you.
Exactly.
There you go.
And those boys, it was Nate Marlin Bait YouTube channel. He makes some cool, crazy ass custom baits. But he brought a bunch of them. That was what the walleye ate is one he made just for this trip called the Shtickle.
Why wouldn't have been?
The Shad Tickler.
Shad tickle. Tickle.
Yeah, those guys were wanting to do a fish fry, so we killed everything. I think we put 3 or 4 walleyes in the box, like a dozen white bass, 2 drum.
Yeah, I saw the drum in there. I'm like,
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Oh, they're good. That should be the taste test. We should
do. One. I've heard that a lot.
We should do. All right, so we filmed a video, Bluecat versus Channel Cat versus Flathead. Super interesting results. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. The video will be out someday.
They were all delicious.
Yeah,
all of them.
They're all good. The only reason there was leftovers is because I cooked too much, which is a good sign. Anyway, I think an interesting one would be perch walleye drum. To get that wild card in there.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Perch would be tougher for me to get.
Just go to that tree lake
I could get some perch.
up by Sam.
You could contribute.
We could figure out a way to do it, yeah.
Okay.
That tree lake up by Sam, they're moving in.
They're little though.
Well,
I mean, they're like shrimp size.
no,
I've caught plenty of them.
decent.
Well, there's a few options, so there's a couple local lakes, within an hour, north or south, that we could go to that have perch in them. If you time it right on the Mississippi, go up like.
I've heard the Mississippi.
There was a really good perch bite going on, and I think it's usually in October. And then when the water gets colder, they kind of shut down a little bit, I think, or they move or something
Really?
like that. And then
That's weird because you catch them through the ice.
it's not that they don't bite. I think they just must move.
Transitional.
They do like a little walleye run type up to the tailwaters for a little bit sometime in the fall.
Get tough to catch.
But in the spring, if you get them to the spawn, they spawn before the walleyes do.
Perch do?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, like northern pike and perch spawn similar time? Northern spawn earlier.
I think northern are first, and perch are second, and walleyes are third.
Okay.
But there's always a really good perch bite up on the Mississippi.
Okay.
People are catching stringers full.
Well, I don't care how they're acquired. We just have to.
Just gotta have one. But I'm saying we gotta go. If we're gonna have to acquire them, we might as well
Go to the
acquire.
same place.
The other option would be up in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Go up there, but we don't always get into perch.
Well, the Mississippi's
It's
got
hit or miss. Sometimes we do something.
Walters, perch, and really good drum. So
Yeah. That's
Do
that
a
would
catch
be-
and cook on the
how's
sandbar.
Spring trip to the Mississippi would be.
I won't be back till May. Would May be a decent time to do it? I bet the drum will be firing. In
The
May.
drum will be firing. The walleyes would be good. The perch can be caught. I just am not as familiar with where you get them, but I think I got ideas.
Okay.
I know how to get them. It's really simple. Like you're just using a lot of guys use like 3-way rigs and just hook and little worm night crawler, and that's it.
Okay.
It's not, but you got to find them.
Yeah, you can't catch them if they're not there.
Fish and weed lines.
Guaranteed.
I think fish and weed lines in the backwaters, I think, is kind of where they go during the summertime.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where. Obviously, I don't live on the river, so I wouldn't. It's something I've never gone after. Like walleyes, I can tell you right now, that's easy. And drum are really easy. And in fact, we don't even have to target drum. Just fish for walleyes.
They're
We'll probably
bycatch?
Yeah, we'll catch the drum.
That was kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then if we knock that video out, I think the perch would be the challenge. I mean, especially based on, I assume, kind
We
of.
can figure it out.
But if we do that, then I just want to spend a large chunk of time trying to catch a 20-pound drum.
We get some crawdads.
I've never caught a 20-pound drum. I enjoy catching crawdads.
I have one that I'm very confident was over 20 pounds. All I have is a 15-pound boga.
Yeah.
And it just tanked that one like it was.
They're 100% there. There's 30, 40-pound drums.
I'm mad I didn't get better pictures of it. The picture I got of it did not do it justice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I was like, whatever, this big gnarly thing. It was huge barn doors.
They fight like crazy.
You know what it hit?
Dude, it could have hit anything.
Number 5 Salmo Hornet trolling.
100%. Like
Rod folds over. I'm like, well, I got a state record walleye here.
He would have been just as.
And we were catching a ton of walleyes and saugers in this stretch. We were like a bunch of sublegal walleyes and smaller saugers. And when that rod folded over, I'm like, could this be the one?
The odds
it was the one, all right.
Catching that drum on that salmo are just as good as you catching it on a crawdad, a piece of shad, a night crawler, or a jig in plastic. Like it would have been about the same regardless.
It was just,
that's what I want. Another thing I love about them, you can catch them a million different ways.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They will whack a jig in plastic, dude.
Oh,
just boom. Then how many of them bites do you get that you miss? Or probably freaking drum. 12 inchers. Little sons of bitches.
Most of mine are worm harnesses, trolling.
Sure.
It is. And you know it's not a walleye because your rod just goes.
Can you even troll a crawler harness on the Mississippi without catfish eating it?
I think there's probably spots.
Yeah.
Depending on what stretch you're fishing, the weeds get bad. I don't know, it's like duckweed or what. It's like long grassy.
The milf?
Stuff gets bad.
The milfoil?
No, it's not milfoil.
I just want an excuse to say milfoil.
You don't need an excuse on this, Joe.
No, just say it, Spencer.
I did twice. But I don't know what it is.
So, yeah, I think it's called duckweed. But
Duckweed's the little
Floaty stuff.
Is it the little floaty stuff, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's long grassy shit. I forget what it's called.
Sargassum.
Yes, we'll call it that. I like MILF too. Yeah, we call it MILF, whatever. I don't know.
That's what
All
it
I know is
today.
But I know what MILF is.
it gets extremely bad in certain, like pool 10 in particular. I don't know why pool 10 is so shitty, but it does, especially in the fall.
Yeah.
And they can during the summer too. It depends which way the wind blows and whatever. I don't know where it all comes from, but.
So it's not growing there; it just collects there.
Yeah, it's like just floating down the river.
Oh, okay.
And
Do you think
you
some
can't,
of
you
it's-
cannot, you cast out and you immediately have it. Like, it can create challenges. So you can imagine like trolling crankbaits or trying to pull crawler harnesses can be
Impossible.
yeah. It's not impossible. You gotta find spots where it's not as thick, and then fish techniques that you at least can get your bait down in the water for at least
Give
a
it a shot.
few
Yeah.
times to have a shot to get bit.
Yeah.
So, when I stopped down there and the weeds were really bad the time I went down there, and on my way back from Green Bay, and I stopped at a couple spots, and like one was unfishable. Like it was literally every cast. I'm like, it was at night too, so you can't see. And
Is there a time of year where it's worse than others?
it can be this time of year seems to be one of those times. Like in the fall, it can be really bad. I'm not sure.
I think it's growing somewhere, it dies off.
Dies off and then starts floating down, or I don't know, but it can be there in the summertime too. So I don't know. I've had times where it's not bad at all, and other times it's just
Did I tell you about
makes it almost impossible to fish.
the hyacinth in Florida? How it'll, I believe, not an expert, but I believe it grows on the bottom, and then on really nice days, like it has like a gas chamber that expands and then floats to the top, and then it's just floating down river.
Really?
That's what appears. I should probably Google things before I talk about them.
I prefer you don't.
On a state media.
So there's this helium-filled weed.
Yes. Post on the internet, I'd be like, that guy's full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, and they're right. But anyway, I do know it'll float on top of the water, And there were days where it got so thick that I would have to stop my boat every 1 to 800 yards, turn it off, and pull it out of the jet foot.
The jet.
Yeah.
Talk about
How I whooped your ass at the Flathead competition.
Boom.
Boom.
I wanted to talk about that.
So I got first place and second place in a 2-man competition.
You did.
You got third.
You did.
Bet you feel like a loser, huh?
Yeah, loser. I got fourth too.
I did not get a 40-pound flathead this year.
I've had years where I've done that.
If
Actually,
it makes you feel any better, I didn't either.
Sadly, that does not make me feel any
No,
better.
I only tried like once, and I think it was on your boat, in fact.
oh, flathead fishing this
I
year.
think so, right? Wasn't that this year? Am I losing my mind?
No, that was last year because you guys went home and I got that 44.
Yeah,
That was last year.
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't even do that this year. Did we?
No.
Did I go with you? I didn't go
No,
with you at all.
because I've been all over the place this summer.
Yeah.
Okay, I went one time on my buddy Pat. He's got a little
Did he tell you I met
jet
him?
motor. Yeah, because he was working at the Birdland site, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a fun guy.
He seemed like it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Oh yeah.
talking
Oh,
to him.
you'd get along with him like you wouldn't get tired of him. Like he would just.
I sat and talked to him for like 25 minutes. He's like, "Shit, man, I gotta get to work." I'm like, "Yeah, you should."
Yeah.
Jesus.
No.
Slacker.
No, if you'd enjoy his company on a catfish.
Sure,
for sure. And he'd do whatever you asked him to do. He's like, "Yep, no problem."
Good dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
No matter how drunk he got, he would do it.
Well, then that's the mark of a guy who's been on the opposite end of the spectrum and had to deal with somebody who isn't.
Yeah.
That's why I try to be that guy, that whatever needs to be done, we get it done, because I've dealt with enough people who are just freaking lazy.
Yeah. No, we went up on his boat for an evening and.
Yeah, he's telling me.
We didn't fish late. Like we let the sun set and kind of went until it got very pitch black dark because usually that's like
Happy hour.
yeah that's happy hour. It's like that's kind of like I was like Pat, if we get bit, then we'll keep staying. If we don't get bit during this hour, like it's probably not a good sign, right? I mean anything can happen.
Yeah.
I get everything. Anything can happen,
Yeah.
right? It was just
It's Iowa, man.
I get it.
But yeah,
I get it. I was just like.
Like the odds of you getting one at sunset are probably like 20%, and then the odds of you getting them between sunset and 3 in the morning are probably like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just depends, whatever.
Right.
There was that night you and Corey where they just bit all freaking night.
If you can find a spot that's unpressured, that's really good, they bite all night. Good, like it's hard
Like
to
once
find
a
those
year.
spots.
Like once a year.
I mean, I've been, not this year obviously, but years past when populations are, that's the reason I think the populations are infected, kind of,
Yeah.
affected, is because like, I
Affected
can
and
still
infected.
get to those places, the fish just aren't there,
Yeah.
Well,
like we talked about, one of the spots that I guide at, we both had our fish finders across there, and there wasn't a single fish in that area. There wasn't carp, there wasn't channel cat, there wasn't.
oh, there was, when I went through there was lots of fish.
That's why I stopped going there, because last time I went there, the biggest fish I saw was 6 inches long. Like it was just a tiny little blip. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, but flatheads hide, man.
No, but I mean carp, channel cat. There was zero
because the
biomass.
flatheads ate them all. There is something to
Yeah, I was
that.
kind of
There-
thinking
yeah.
that, like,
When you get them holes that are
you
constricted,
get like some average sized carp that a 40 or 50 pound flathead can eat easily.
They got nowhere to go.
Right?
Yeah.
They can't hide.
any carp under 10 pounds and there's a hole with a 50 pounder in it,
They're
they're fair game.
yeah.
Like
Oh, for sure.
they will eat stuff you can't cast.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you have a pool cue rod, you try to lob an 8-pound carp, like it ain't gonna happen. But
No.
they'll still eat it.
But even more so, one thing you can't replicate, and I was comes to mind a genius idea because we always hear, or maybe it's not genius, but I think it is.
in
every
your
time,
head.
every time I've gone with you, because I don't really flathead fish unless it's with Spencer for the most part.
Yeah.
But every time we do those overnights on sandbars, we almost always hear a boom, that sounds like, and almost every time you're like, a carp just got ate by a flathead.
Yep.
Now, did it every time we hear that? I don't know, but there's probably a good chance you're not wrong.
Yes.
So why don't we try to have something like, if you could devise a way to keep that bait kind of hovering up? Because obviously
I already have it.
But like,
I already have the idea. I have it planned. I was gonna make a video of it. It just never worked out.
Can I cut this out so people don't steal it?
No, I've been thinking of it for 2 years and I still haven't got around to it. So
But
it might never happen. But what you do, you take a ditty pool, you shove it in the opposite bank, take a string with a planer board clip, and then you kayak across the river, you hook your bait, you clip it in the clip, and have it just dangling around on top of the water, and then you kayak back and put your rod in the rod holder so the line is across the river above the water, free spool clicker, and when that thing gets eaten, he's going to pop the clip, and then you got a free line to fight the fish.
Zip line flathead fishing.
The problem
seems like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but I bet it would work. And then the other, so there's a lot of advantages. You'd be able to present a bait in a pocket behind like a current break, whether it's brush or a divot on the opposite bank, that you wouldn't be able to cast to.
The one advantage I could see of it too is you're talking about being able to use a bait you couldn't cast so big.
Oh, you could haul them out there, yeah.
The way you're setting that, now you could take a
6-pound carp.
Yeah, or buffalo
Man,
or
with that
whatever.
I'd be tempted, because that clip ain't going to hold him very well.
Yeah.
So I'd be tempted to do a breakaway with a circle where that flathead comes up and eats him and then turns away and have like 14 or 15 pound mono, and then he'll snap it because you'll tie it to a swivel.
Yeah.
And then you'll be on a.
Do you think
line.
flatheads can either sense or smell a fish that's dead or alive? Like
Yeah,
I know it's dead or I know it's not living because okay.
100%.
So the reason why I was asking is because even you have this big carp. Like carp are tough fish too, right? You got to keep them subdued, and you want to simulate this like they're sucking on the just swimming with the current, right?
I want them to freak out the whole time.
You want 'em to freak out.
Yeah.
Look at me! Look at me!
Yeah.
But or is it more natural to just have it?
No, I want him freaking out, losing his little
Always?
carp-ass mind.
That way he gets picked over the other 1,000 that are there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if I just play devil's advocate for you, since I know nothing about nothing? Thinking like in the deer world, things that 3 and 4 year old bucks fall for, like rattling and things like that 5, 6, 7 year olds lots of times don't fall.
Shy away from. They circle.
See where I'm going with there?
So if
The,
you want
the, the obvious, like what you're saying is, yeah, I'm rattling. It's the rut.
yeah.
It's like, no, I'm trying to kill a 6-year-old magnum that's too smart for that. He's gonna hear that and not buy it. He's gonna almost know that's coming up from a tree, not down on the ground, and I don't want any part of that. Or whatever it is, like I'm just this splashing thing that 70 pounder is like something that right here that's doesn't pass the smell test versus something that just looks like it's just cruising up top and like.
So as a guy who fishes for flatheads a lot,
Yeah.
I still don't know. Like, are fish so dumb that they're gonna eat it anyway? Because one thing I do know is, like, often, not all the time, but a lot of the times, the biggest fish in an area gets caught the quickest. And does that apply to flatheads? I don't know. Is that random chance? I don't know. Are there bigger fish in there that didn't eat than the biggest one that you caught? I don't know.
I'd like to hope so.
Yeah.
Gets me going back.
That's part of the mystery. Like
Yeah.
you can observe through whether a camera or your own eyes that old buck didn't want to come into bow range because he heard rattling and it just
Sometimes you can. You don't know if he was there or not. Sometimes.
But enough people
blind rattling. And again, we're comparing.
Wait, time out. Enough people have seen that
Yeah.
theory checks out, whereas
Yeah.
you don't see underwater.
Correct.
So you can't see this 70 pounder that's nobody sees the 70 pounder that passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're also comparing a mammal to a fish. There's
Yeah.
a lot of differences.
Yeah. I mean,
Intelligent, right? Although I don't think
one's cold-blooded. And
I don't
doesn't
think
eat
deer are all that intelligent. I think they just have particular instincts.
Conditioning.
They want to
real,
stay
though.
alive. You know, that's the nature of a
Yeah.
beast.
Conditioning's real, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and it plays out in mammals a lot more than it does other animals. Like, there are studies of people trying to train fish, and they measure intelligence based on their recall, and their recall is based on trying to train them.
Learn facts.
Well, we know we know
habits.
certain things. They like hatchery raise fish. Or fish in an aquarium. Like I had Oscars.
Yeah, you feed
Oh
them.
man, you walk up to the tank and they're freaking out, just like a raceway rainbow trout. You know, just going spazzing out, thinking they're gonna get fed.
But do they pick up on things quicker than mammals? I would say probably not.
I would doubt it.
I mean, like channel cat in a farm pond where they're feeding them with dog food or something. Same kind of instance.
Yeah, and there's been ones where they have cameras on the water, and they'll feed them at different times, so they're not conditioned to a time, but they're conditioned to some other stimulus that indicates food's coming, and they'll feel human footprints up to 100 yards away.
Huh.
And people are like, sound doesn't matter. Well, the only reason sound won't matter is if they don't care. Like, they're aware you're there.
Yeah.
But do they care you're
Yep.
there? So my logic, at least with flatheads, like blues, there's enough of them where I don't really care because there'll be another one. But with flatheads, how many opportunities you get a night? Some nights maybe it was just one, and you stepped too loudly and alarmed that fish, and he turned around with you.
Well, you've had it where you pulled up on your kayak and had a jumbo bust out of the sand, the drop off.
Oh yeah,
And then
pisses me off. Then you fish all night and don't get shit.
But then you caught him like the next time there, didn't you?
I've had that happen. Yeah.
Sound mattering. How about different types of sound?
That would be one that I don't know.
Music versus footsteps or talking voices, whatever.
Yeah.
Or here's one.
What about heavy metal versus like Taylor Swift?
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah.
But how many?
Or Beethoven.
So I
feel like
actually
Beethoven
had
was
that in
super
South Dakota
popular.
last year. I have a buddy that
Flathead whisperer.
buddy of mine that pretty much can't not have noise, whether it's music or something. Like he's
that ADHD.
He needs to
I don't know if
overcome
he's
his
ADHD,
thoughts.
but he just always has to have music going.
Yeah.
And every time we're fishing, like.
I'm like that, but also
And-
one thing you can factor in is air, like noise from the air does not transfer to water very well. Ground vibrations do very, very well.
Yeah.
So if you play music on your phone in your pocket, they don't hear that.
Yeah.
But
And
if
they
you
don't
set
mind
that
Cub
phone on the
games.
ground,
I know they don't mind Cub games.
No.
We listen to a lot of Cub games.
Yeah, well, where I was getting at is like, you have music going and we're also right next to a highway, but these fish are used to the highway.
right?
Yeah.
And that was the debate I got into them with, was like, because we hadn't had a bite yet. I was like, well, you've had the music playing, let's just turn off, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's like I
And,
can't.
and the right away, and right away, he's like, oh yeah, and I'm sure the highway doesn't matter. I was like, well, these fish are clearly used to all these semi trucks and cars driving by.
That's their habitat.
If
That's their normal.
if they didn't like it, they would never be here. Period. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying let's just give it a try. And we did catch fish after he turned it off. Coincidence? Probably. I don't know.
I wouldn't say probably.
But he was not
say
keeping it in his
maybe.
pocket. He was setting it on the ground, like over this culvert.
Yeah.
Too. Or like, if we're in the boat. He's
Setting
not holding it in
on
his
the
pocket.
boat.
It's setting on somewhere on the boat that's touching the water. I don't know how much noise is transferring out. Doesn't matter.
Noise travels better through water than it does air.
We've crushed them while there's music on too. It's just, do they care? What is the scenario? I don't know.
So my argument is, or my thought process, not argument, is like some fish care, some fish don't when it comes to music and noise. I want to catch them all.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to pigeonhole myself into only fishing for fish that don't give a shit about
There's
music.
never been a fish that didn't bite because you were too quiet.
100%.
Yeah.
And we've had that conversation before about how your percentages go up, like after you go to sleep, or if you're on a solo trip.
I
Where
catch
we're not-
twice as many flatheads by myself as
Yes.
I do with anybody else.
Because you're just conversating. You're not
Unless it's
focused. You're not.
You are the outlier. Yeah.
Because there is something to it. I mean, for one, you're more focused. You're not making noise. You're not getting up to the cooler twice as much. You're not.
I might even have the cooler sitting next to me.
Yeah.
You might be frying some deer sausage, and that's the lucky
And just
one.
pounding on
Yeah.
it.
And you're not just stitious, you're superstitious.
Yeah. Not a little stitious.
I'm superstitious. So yeah.
That was the first text message I sent to Spencer. I said the deer jerky or the deer sausage worked after you guys left.
Yeah. There you go. It did. It never fails.
It would have this year.
Yeah. That's why we didn't go. We're not gonna.
Not gonna waste deer sausage.
Yeah,
on
we're not
this.
gonna waste premium meat on shitty fishing. That'd be stupid.
There was the month right after they got out of spawn was, for me anyway, pretty normal. And then
So
other
you
than
caught
that, it
like
just
one
sucked.
fish every 5
No, I had a night where I caught 5. I had a night I caught 4. I had a night I caught 3. And then it just went.
2 to 1 to
No,
0,
it just-
0, 0, 0.
I think 3 was the last one. Then I'd pick up like a 15 or a
Yeah.
20 or.
My last trip for flatheads or whatever wasn't specifically for flatheads because I didn't even bring any bait. Just ended up using shad that I caught while I was out there. Caught 2.
Yeah.
We ate one tonight.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad it did.
The other one almost got eaten, but he was like 12, 15. I'm like, if any other year I would kill you in a heartbeat. I haven't seen enough of them to butcher one that.
Yeah.
If it would have been like a year where I caught 80 of them, you know, like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's done.
You're delicious too.
No, I just caught enough to catch
Yeah.
2 bigger than Ryan.
So the cold,
Yes, you did.
cold front finally put that to rest. Is the season officially over now, or?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Like you could probably go snag.
I
a
mean,
few of
yeah,
them if
well,
you
yeah.
like.
You stole my thunder.
We know where they're at.
I wanted. That's where I was getting at. Yes.
If they could get there, we
Aside
know where
from
they're at.
the
Yeah.
the real sportsmen that catch them on jigging plastic in
Nah.
November and
Real talk.
January.
Real talk. It's gonna warm up again, and if you know where they spend the winter, and you wanted to, I don't think it would be like gangbusters, but
We
I
got a
think,
shot.
I think you'd have a real shot. Like cut shad.
Like this weekend, it's
$9.
supposed to be 60s.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna warm up again, and if you know where they spend the winter, you put some baits in front of them. You could definitely get one.
Fortunately, there's this thing called the deer rut that's about to start.
Trapping starts Saturday.
I gotta get after it.
I gotta win a tournament on Saturday. Might even catch some flatheads.
Speaking of trapping,
Alright.
I need someone to kill as many raccoons as possible on my property. And you got
I knew that. I bet if I come
You're not
down
even
one
that far
weekend,
away.
I can catch over 100.
yeah. I believe it. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
How
Me and
confident are you?
I put $100 on it for 100 raccoon in one weekend.
I was gonna say 20, so you said 100.
How much
Which means I ain't making
ground do
that
you need
bet.
for that?
Depends on the raccoon. I mean, I've got if I was seriously going to catch 100 raccoon in one weekend, I'd bring 150 traps probably, and just
ravage them.
yeah, every trail I'd
That's
triple up.
That's what I need to happen.
There you go. Guess you
Yeah.
got weekend plans.
2 days I could. Well, opening weekend I've got me and Jay. We're
Well,
gonna
you
go
probably
out.
don't want them in there.
No.
Right now, anyway.
Well, my thought is if I could just kill a buck and get that tag filled, and then
Then
get them in there
I'll
and
come down for a weekend. and
little
we'll- Yeah.
hammer time. Just
They're so adaptable.
Well,
They
like-
can survive off of
Yeah.
anything.
yeah,
To
they're
me,
like
they're-
they're like little bears.
They're
you know,
Yeah.
a
it's
million
like-
cockroaches.
yeah.
Yeah, they could just eat drywall and probably survive. I mean, anything with any nutritional value. They'll
So are
eat
we
enough.
gonna add raccoons to the list of things that would survive a nuclear explosion?
I think so.
Yeah, with cockroaches and coyotes and raccoons will probably be there too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think this is.
Oh hey,
What are you doing?
you ruined it.
You ruined it. Now we gotta start over.
Yeah. Ella came by, ruined it. Take 2, boys.
We wasted the good surprise on you. I don't remember where that's from, but it was a funny movie.
Big Daddy.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, it was. Yes. So, you want to talk about the new boat?
Yeah, I want to talk about the boat.
Let's talk about it.
I can't believe you haven't
How
asked.
fast is it?
You
gonna
haven't
go?
shut up enough yet.
That's
I had a list of stuff I was getting to, and I've got to 0 of them.
good.
When do you officially take possession of it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Gonna wake up at not the crack of dawn. Well before I want to be there in the crack of dawn, so I'll probably hit the road about 4:30.
Little pre-crack.
Yeah. Pre-crack, hit it hard, and get there. Yeah, at the crack, and pick her up and get it all titled and registered, and get all the payments taken care of, and get her home, and maybe do a few little tweaks. I don't know.
You're not taking it out there?
I'm gonna talk to Mike about how it's been ran and everything. But
Yeah.
I got a guide trip the next day
Oh,
on the so I'm going from the Mississippi to the Missouri.
So no
Oh,
sentimental
geez.
maiden voyage. It's dive right in.
Right.
it's time. It's a working boat. It's
Yeah.
time to work.
Yeah.
You gotta.
So it's gonna get broken in on
It's
the
gonna be
guide
a
trip.
pretty working boat.
Whoa. At least for one day.
So you're going from tilt, or is it still tiller, or
Nope.
no? You're going to steering wheel.
It'll be walk-through windshield,
Yeah.
full enclosure. There's a little opening between the windshield and the deck. I'm gonna get that filled, like have a little slider and
Yep.
fill that up. And it's 20 foot, same size as my boat, but instead of a 3-degree dead rise, which is almost no V, to a 15. It'll be kind of more of a compromise boat where you can, still don't draft that much water, not like a lot of the deeper V's,
Mm-hmm.
Like your Lunds or something like that.
Yeah, Lunds, Crestliners, the boats with like a 16 to 18 degree dead rise. This has got a 15 and it's more of a taper. It's not that sharp cut that it does run the whole length of the bottom, but it's not as extreme. It drafts less water. It's gonna have a jack plate. Gonna have wave whackers on the back, so because they've been known to take waves over the back, so that should help alleviate some of that. And then gonna have rod racks, gonna have talons on it, and it's gonna have a big wide open cockpit to fish out of the back with an 80-gallon live well, and to fit all my 100-pounders in there.
That's right. So it's a tournament / work / pleasure boat.
It's a big water boat.
Yeah.
Big water boat that can
Get skinny.
get kind of skinny, And
You just gotta pick a little bit.
Skinny
at a
as any
time.
boat with a 200 horse motor is gonna get.
right. Yeah, it'll have 200 horse. Should go 50.
They don't make short shaft 200 horsepower. Unfortunately.
No, but should hit 50-ish miles an hour when you get her all trimmed up and everything the right way. And,
You're going plenty fast there.
yeah.
And your truck was in the garage when I pulled up. I was like, he's not home.
Yeah, my boat is
Your boat's gone.
Gone. It is
Yeah.
not my name anymore. It is signed the title over last week,
Wrong.
which is kind of weird. I didn't really think about it that much, but this is the first time I haven't had a boat in my name for a while.
Yeah.
And
No
everybody-
remorse though. You're going forward.
Oh, none whatsoever. I'll regret it in June. I'll miss it a little. Not regret, but I'll miss it in
Yeah.
June.
We got one.
Yeah. That's what I keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
So
You
I'm
can just
excited.
use yours, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited, and then it'll be a different layout, so I'll get to tweak it, And
Yours isn't a tiller, right? Yours is a steering. Right?
Yeah. Mine's steering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to remember. I liked it. It was.
oh, your boat is so much fun to drive around.
Yeah. And I think if I get that
every time we
column to
go,
the front,
I'm like,
it'd be even
I
more
wanted.
fun.
You're totally cool with letting me drive, and I love that you're totally cool with letting me drive because that is a fun boat to zip
It
around.
is. It's fun, especially now I got it tuned up.
Yes.
You got it fixed.
I thought the
pretty
top
fun.
end would be a little higher. It does.
Well,
it does okay.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of weight in there too. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could take out
Mhm.
to make the top end heavier, but I'm okay with where it's at. So.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's very, very, very functional. It's not a showstopper.
No,
It's very functional.
it'll get you there.
But it's zippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because it's got a little more dead rise than what mine had, which
Yeah.
is probably one of the reasons it does better on lakes than mine does.
Yeah.
But I think that helps it get on plane a little faster.
Yeah, it pops right up.
Pops right up, and it's just like, zzz, Mine's more of a barge.
Yeah, I took Kenzie and his son out at the place where he used to live when it had a little water.
Mm-hmm.
And they were impressed that we were going like 30 mile an hour through that shit.
Oh, yeah. It's a fun, zippy little boat.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I enjoy driving it. Going back to the prop life, this will be boat number 5 that I've owned. And the only jet I've owned is the last one.
Yeah.
This is the fifth. So they've all been like little John boats, or
I had a 16-foot deep V Lund with a 15-horse Johnson. And then I went from that to a 1448 flat bottom with a 9.9 Evinrude. Then went to a 1648 Grizzly Tracker with a 35 horse Evinrude. And then a 2072 Sea Arc with a 150-105 jet.
stepped up your game there.
Well, what happened was, and it's funny to me that everybody thinks of me as the kayak guy, which I love kayaks and I always fish out of kayak to some degree. But one of the big reasons I really went crazy on the kayak is because I said I'm going to sell this boat that gives me nothing but problems.
Well,
That motor was horrible.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to buy another boat until I get the boat that like my dream boat.
Yeah.
Not the one I want, or not the one I can afford, but the one I actually want. And then I got that boat.
There you go.
And I guess my needs just changed a little bit. So,
Right on.
Quite a bit.
yeah.
If you look back 4 years ago and we hadn't had this drought, do you think your fishing would have progressed the direction it's gone? Or do you think you would still be more of a small river guy than the big river?
I got dabble in tournaments some, but like our fishing's been so bad that it's like, why even stay here?
Yeah.
Why fish for something that doesn't exist?
And a lot, especially with 2 videos a week, that's kind of was a driving factor at the end, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I would say it's just more the awareness of what's out there.
Yeah.
Like I had, you branch out and you see what a quality fishery really looks like. And while I value, where we're at, we're fortunate that we have the possibility of a monster.
Yeah.
But what we're missing is the fish in between, like you're going to go fishless nights. You're going to have, it's just a tough fishery that has a possibility of a high payoff.
Yeah.
But right now we don't even have that.
No, we do not.
It went from a tough fishery to a step above impossible fishery. And I'm blowing it out of proportion, man. Like there's fish to be caught right now.
Yeah.
But some of it, the other side of it is like making videos. Our fisheries are so niche, where it's not like a Leech Lake or a Mille Lacs where you can go to this giant body of water that has a substantial amount of fish available in a lot of places for like a very large biomass. Where here you can get on some really good fishing in these niche scenarios. Like if this time of year, this water level, like be at this spot.
4 wipers or 4 walleye or 4
flatheads or whatever. Like there were some opportunities for flatheads that I was very aware of. I could have went out and I could have had some 5 to 10 fish nights, but I wasn't gonna go because I don't have time to do it
fish for them and not film it. And I'm not going to film them spots.
Yeah.
I just didn't go.
Yeah.
You know, I went other places.
Trying to educate yourself better.
Oh, I've reread that book.
I was gonna say, how many times have you read that book?
What I find
Probably a
interesting,
dozen.
a couple things. One, have you ever used a crawler harness, with a blade, like walleye crawler harness?
Mhm.
For what, channel cats?
Yeah. Works pretty good.
Especially in that lake down south that you fish quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the cover, it looks
And you
like
pick up an occasional walleye.
one caught on the edge of the mouth with a swim bait. Where have we seen that before?
That pissed me off. So I love in fishermen on so many levels, but the fact that they had the balls to publish articles on jigging winter flatheads like pisses me off.
Yeah.
Not because it's such. Just to clarify to anybody listening, it doesn't piss me off because it's like a very quotation marks potent tactic. It's because they snag them.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's an ethic thing.
yeah. And everybody who does it all the time is like, oh, they eat it, hooked him in the mouth. Like, is it possible one ate it? Yes, absolutely. There's no absolutes in nature, but how many of them did you hook in the mouth that you snagged in the mouth?
Yeah.
They have a giant goddamn mouth. Like
Every time I've never caught one that absolutely bit it.
like
That it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't inside. It wasn't. Well, the other thing. Here's the thing about a flathead is just how they're almost like a little triangle, right? From like their mouth and their head is the biggest part, and then they
taper back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're gonna snag them in the mouth.
Yeah. There's gonna be.
It's the highest percentage chance you're gonna snag them
The
is in
surface
the mouth.
area.
Yeah. The
Unlike
mouth.
other fish, like a walleye, it's a very low percentage chance that if you foul hook them, they're gonna be in the mouth.
Yeah, that one I foul hooked on the miss, hooked him right in the gut.
Yeah.
Kind of felt bad.
That's
Yeah.
smarted, isn't it?
Snap jigged him right into the gut. You didn't catch a flathead. You snagged a flathead. I would even make the argument the guys that go walleye fishing and they have one thump of a swim bait, they didn't actually catch a flathead. It's a flathead, but they didn't catch a flathead. Because it's not really flathead fishing.
Yeah. Well, you and I have had that discussion.
Just
Because I've caught numerous ones that I know for a fact bit. Like I felt them just crush it.
Right, but it's just an enjoyable bycatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is what it really
That's
is.
why it was different. You know, just like going Bluecat. Okay. What I did and I caught Bluecats was not the same as what you and I just did a couple weeks ago.
Where we went and targeted them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing. Again, I still have that memory in my mind of when the first time you and I went.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, intent of catching a flathead. The cool part was I bought this like cheap little ocean surf
It was
rod.
your redfish outfit, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you were
yeah,
asking, like, what
was
should
like-
I bring? And you showed me that. I'm like, that'll work.
that'll work.
And then you got one.
The best bowl.
Hell yeah.
What was cool about that one was because we're sitting there and you know I'm getting about 3 sheets to the wind. and-
it happens.
Yeah. Well, we're
Kind
sitting,
of flathead.
what else are we gonna do? We're sitting there waiting for a fish to bite, drinking beer around a fire, and we're talking about like you know how the bullheads would make the rod flutter and everything.
Yeah.
You know, looking for that difference in the Spencer's like describing what the difference is, and all of a sudden my rod goes. He's like that.
That's what we're looking for, right there.
That was a good. I mean, every time we went, it's been a pretty good night, except for the last one.
That was just really cool because we were like sitting there watching it, and we were talking about it.
Well, and we
then
watched
boom,
that.
it just folds over. And
Yeah.
like, yep, that's what we're looking for.
We watched the toilet bowl flush happen at our feet.
Oh yeah,
That was I'd
Yeah.
never seen that before either till that night, and we're just sitting there, then whoosh, from me to the freaking camera away.
That's cool.
It was pretty neat.
I mean,
Well-
I've heard close ones, but I've never seen it.
It was
like
before
that.
it was dark, so you
Oh,
saw
really?
it. Like it was right when everything's gray,
Yeah,
and you just see the water.
that's cool.
But anyway, the inverse of that. So catching a flathead while you're walleye fishing with jig and plastic or crankbait or whatever, you're not really catching the flathead. If you go flathead fishing and you got a live bait out, and I catch a 10-pound walleye, to me, I didn't really catch a walleye.
You didn't feel the fight because you just reel him in on
Yeah.
60 or 80 pound test.
Or even
There was a guy that caught a big walleye.
it happens
up in Wisconsin.
up in Minnesota. Dudes
Yeah.
catch 8 to 12 pounders every year.
A guy you know, I
bullheads.
saw him. He had a picture of a 30-incher that he caught on like a bullhead or a sunfish or something.
Yep.
Walleyes love the sunfish.
Every year,
That's
except this year. But every year for the past 5 years, I've caught at least one walleye flag fishing.
Usually on creek chubs, wasn't it?
Creek chubs
That's where I've
and
caught.
sunfish.
Yeah.
sunfish. They like those sunfish. Yeah, bullhead they're probably
I've never caught one on a
Yeah.
bullhead, but I know
That's
those
a pretty-
Minnesota boys get them on bullheads.
pretty aggressive for a walleye, but walleyes do like, Mississippi River little guys. Willow cats. Yeah.
But there's a lot more walleyes in Minnesota, so when you have a larger number, it might be more aggressive, more competition.
Yeah.
It depends on the size of the bullhead too. Like, I think probably we would all agree if we're out and fishing for flatheads, I want a big magnum bullhead over the little baby,
Dude, they
right?
eat such big stuff though, walleyes. Like it's crazy how big a baits they'll eat.
They can, yeah.
I caught
But the biggest
a
thing with a
4-pounder.
walleye is like I just don't think a walleye has quite the strength of, it's like a fucking garbage disposal for a flathead, right? When something goes down, it
Oh,
just
yeah.
Sucks it in. Yeah.
Well,
the back of
what
your
it go?
throat.
Yeah, just grinding, just crushing up those
Yeah.
bones. I don't think a walleye quite has that ability in
Yeah.
their throat and everything. There's a reason why a flathead can eat a bullhead. Think about it. Try eating a bullhead whole. You wouldn't have a chance. Where they have stuff they just crushes and grinds that stuff up and down it goes.
Well, all I know is walleyes eat big stuff, and I caught a
Yeah.
4-pound walleye. But granted, it was a long, skinny one, so it's probably
25, 26.
that would be my guess.
So that's a good sized fish. He's got a big head,
Yeah.
big mouth.
He ate a 12-inch creek chub.
Yeah, I believe it.
Creek chubs are slurpable. That's what I love about them.
Well, it's just goes.
Especially that
yeah.
10, 12 inch size.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
I
about
love
walleye
it.
fishing and bait size and big bait, big fish. There's definitely a lot of truth to that, but there's always the exception of the rule. Like, my two biggest walleyes, they're over 30, and both were caught very finessing.
Yeah.
Just kind of happened. I remember I was undersized on weight. I already had an 1/8 ounce tied on the first 30-incher I ever caught. And I was like, well, it's already tied on. I'm gonna make a few pitches, and it was like second cast. Bam.
You're like, I'm done. Going home.
Just smoked it too. I smoked it so hard I thought I had a smallmouth because the river I was fishing has a lot of the good smallmouth and
Like smoked it as when he hit it and he's pulling drag.
just
Fighting that hard.
just really hard takedown, like, and then it turned into, and I was like, oh shit, I know what I've got. It ain't a smallmouth.
This is a real
Just
one, boys.
big head shakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
The
the
fanners.
not the little
Yeah.
flutters. It was the big fanners. Yes, back and forth, and I'm like, yep, I know what I got.
Keep pressuring.
That's what I love about a big fish.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, very surreal moment when you hit a goal like that one.
I hope my first 30-inch walleye is in Alabama.
It'd be cool.
Or anywhere else you're at.
No, but that would be, you know how, like, a 60-pound flathead in Iowa would mean 10 times more than a 60-pounder in Alabama.
Yes.
But a 30-inch walleye in Alabama would mean 10 times more than a 30-incher in Iowa. Just because of the rarity.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Do they exist? Yeah. You just gotta find it.
Yeah. I was a half-inch away.
Yeah, that's why I drive 13
Is that the
hours.
video you just released? Did you measure that one?
On Facebook. The one I put on Facebook.
The video
Of the walleye.
was it on YouTube too?
It was on YouTube too, but I just put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, your last
That
YouTube
was-
one
that
was
was
the Bluecat.
29 and a half.
29 and a half.
Yeah. Couldn't.
On a bump board or
No, it was on a fishing rod, and then I marked it on the fishing rod.
Gotcha.
So straight. If you want to,
It's straight.
If you want to get into the bendy tape measure
I
argument.
I can get into that. We've already had that discussion. You know my thoughts on it. If it doesn't go on a bump board, because I've measured so many fish and I've been very, very like, modest, like.
Yeah.
And then you put it on a bump board and it's like still a half inch to an inch shorter than what you thought it was.
It's different because it doesn't bend.
It's different. So.
Yeah, I just threw my tournament bump board into my boat box.
That's and to your point, Spencer, you made a great point. Like, unless it's a state record, who cares, right?
Yeah.
It's all. But it's just there's so many like 30-inch walleyes, or same thing like giant catfish, 50-pound flatheads, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between measuring it with
and
a
just
flexible
guessing
tape measure
and just playing out guessing and being wrong.
Like I eyeballed him. He's about 50.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
There's been some bad.
Well,
ones.
I got a 40,
No,
and he was
time
bigger
out.
now. So.
Like I love everybody I take fishing on the boat. One theme that I've seen that's popped up. Not everybody, but a couple people, where somebody will be talking about their biggest catfish ever is like 20, 30 pounds. Then you put a 10, 12 pounder in the boat, and they're like, Jesus, that'd be like 25 pounds, right? I'm like, that's like 12, man. Are you sure? I'm like, I haven't seen very many of them. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
We could have weighed him if you want.
Yeah.
I'm always usually like because I'm a natural pessimist, so I always assume that they're smaller than they really are. That's like when my first 30, like I think all I had was a tape at first. Now it eventually got on a bump. I was with Chris Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I eventually got it on a bump board and a very accurate digital scale. So I'm very confident what the measurements were. But I'm measuring it like multiple times, and I'm like, no, this isn't really happening, right? And every time I'm coming up with like about 31.
Yeah.
Like no way, like well, yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was ironic that when I caught that fish, so he actually had to go stock that day.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to just come with me and we'll go knock that out real quick. You can help me load the truck, go put the fish, which would have been fun too.
Yeah.
But it's like it was cloudy, northwest wind, late October, a little bit of flurries. I was like,
They're calling me.
Can you describe better walleye weather in the fall?
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
I like it when it's warm.
Well,
The walleyes don't.
I don't get shit.
I'm not asking what you want. I'm asking what the walleyes want, right?
I like it when it's about 57.
It was just
partly cloudy, not much wind.
Well, it was just one of those things. I was like,
Me and the
Chris,
channel cats love it.
I'm gonna head out and just tell me when you're done, and I'll kind of felt bad.
Yeah.
Because it like happened like second cast, and I called him. He's like, "Are you shitting me?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna drive back because this one's going on the wall." So, and yeah, we got on the bump board and just squeaked by. Like had to make sure like it was nice and straight.
Just squeaked by 30 or 31?
Just 30. Yeah.
So you thought it was 31?
Like when I'm taping it, like I'm trying to be like honest too. Like I'm telling you, like that's why I'm very, very adamant. We did that with the one I caught it through the ice this year too.
Man,
and same thing once, and I had
so much more than me.
And
mine might have been 28.
Yeah. The reason why I
might
care.
have been 31.
Here's the reason why I care, because you let's think about the slot, right? And this is where it matters, in my opinion, from a legality standpoint, right? What's the DNR going to measure if you get pulled over on Mississippi?
On a bump board.
He's going to go on a bump board, right?
Yeah, but that's why I have a measuring tape on my boat.
You have a bump board though, don't you?
Well, on my boat that I just got rid of, I had a sticker
I'm
on the boat.
Yeah, I just know they're gonna use a bump board,
Which
and
is essentially
what are they gonna? They're gonna.
board.
Yeah.
I've watched them because I've had them measure our fish before. Out of like South Dakota has you can only have one over 20. Yeah. And they measured them all, and some of them you can look at, like, he's like, I don't need to see that. It's clearly 16. You're fine.
Yeah.
That's a 17. That's fine. But the ones that are like in that area, like
the 19 to 21.
Yeah, they take it and they don't screw around. It's that nose is smashed against that board, and that's what you get. And if you're over, so that's why I say that's the official thing. And like guys that take some scroungy tape and everything.
I'm not going to argue that it's the official.
It's like you're going around saying you caught a 30. It's like, well, you probably didn't, but
yeah.
Like to your point, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. It's to me, I just want it matters to me because I'm a man of the truth. I want the absolute truth. I guess that's
everybody lies.
I don't like to lie. I want it to be true.
Well,
right?
I appreciate that about you, Rob.
If I'm gonna go and say I caught a 30, I want to really say, and it's funny because Chris has kind of instilled that in me a little bit because he was like. That first one, he was giving me some shit. He's like, it's 29 3/4, like, tail pinch counts, right? Tail pinch is legal, right, Chris? And he's like, yep. I was like, there, is it touching? He got me, the mouth is open. Mouth needs to be closed.
The mouth's got to be closed.
Mouth got to be closed. I was like, okay, the mouth is closed, right? Tail pinch, there it is. 30. He's like, okay. And he's like, and even still to this day, he's like, I was 29 and 7/8.
That's
like,
Chris,
no,
though. His sense of humor is just, it's kind of dry, but he's a good dude.
So I'd like him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's an outdoorsman through and through. Like I told the stories back when there wasn't very many coyotes in Greene County.
You need a beer? I'm going to go get a beer.
Yeah, I would take one. But he would do cross-country skis, and he had rabbit fur on the bottom, so they would glide without sound. Mm-hmm. And on the sunny days during the wintertime, he'd go out in the fence lines and shoot coyotes. And
he's never told me about that. I know he was big into ducks. He was really big into ducks. He had black lab
But he always had a parka that I don't know if it was first coyote, but one of the coyotes that he had the tail sewed around the hood of his parka.
You like IPAs, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dog at the time.
Wow. I have been to this brewery.
Really?
Yeah, it's in Idaho Springs, Colorado.
I've been to a grocery store that sells that beer.
So it's the same.
Yeah, I've actually been to Tommy Knocker Brewery. Since he's retired, I think he's gotten way more like I want to just chill and relax.
Good for him.
He's kind of always been that way though, like personal life. He's not been a group guy. He's just kind of been he's
lone
guy.
Yeah, but I don't think he fishes and hunts as much as he.
So he retired and hunted.
Well, he likes to. So he got really. Yeah. Well, he's kind of changed interests. Like he got really big into making musky lures.
Oh, so
he has for quite a while.
He's actually a really good artist.
Okay.
So did I show you the one he made me?
No.
Yeah. So it's a jointed, floating.
Balsa.
Yeah, I think it's balsa wood. I believe. No, actually mahogany. It was mahogany.
I should show you the ones that Nate Marlene made me.
But it's a big thing and hand painted. He's actually tested it and to make sure it swims right and so it totally fishes.
So you're gonna fish it on.
But he painted it as
the local rivers.
It's a walleye.
Snagging a rock.
What's that? No, I'm not. No, I'll never use it because
I'm going swimming for that.
I told him I was like, no, this one's just displayed because he could sell it for $150 and he just gave it to me.
Yeah.
But he painted it like a walleye. Like walleye pattern and everything, like really detailed, like hand painted.
So it looks
pretty bad. What's even cool is he
have a white tip.
He dates it, puts it, C. Larson.
Yeah.
And then number of what that was it might have been like the 23rd or 24th lure he made or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was like, there's not a chance in hell I'm ever gonna cast this thing out. Like this is kind of a neat little deal. And
it's not even gonna see a.
It was a really cool. It was a really cool gesture, I'd come up there and hang out with him, and what was cool is the day he gave me that was the day before I caught that 30.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. When was the last time you drank something that wasn't Busch Light?
Ooh. A beer.
I'm really not a beer snob, but if I'm buying beer, it's gonna be Busch Light. But if
No.
somebody has
Answer
a
the
Coors Light,
question.
how long ago? It's been a long time.
Yeah, what are you, a politician? Come
It's
on.
been a long time. I don't know.
Just answer the damn question.
I don't know. It's been a long time. Probably the Natty from our last. Was it the? Didn't we have the Natter Days? When did we have the Natter Days on the podcast?
Oh.
That was this spring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was probably my last non-Bush Light.
A natty.
A Natter Day.
Well, it was the
Jeez.
fruity one.
Yeah, the strawberry.
Oh, that one?
lemonade.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
No.
Sounds like a fucking
It
devil.
wasn't.
We
I-
sent it with Greg.
I
He
had
bought
one.
it.
Yeah.
Because he was touting it, and I'm like,
What
you
about
can
Bush
take
Light
this.
Apple? Were you a fan of that? Or Bush Light Peach?
I did have a Bush Light Peach this year, and it is better than the apple, but it's still, you can't drink a lot of them.
I don't like peach anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the apple was better than the peach.
Really? I thought the peach was better than the apple.
I've had the apple.
I could probably
I
crush a
haven't-
bunch of those
I haven't
apples
had
just because it was so light it like wouldn't even
Yeah.
matter, right?
Yeah.
It, the apple had
like
too much
drinking
sugar
water.
in it.
Right.
You're talking to a guy who likes to drink 130 proof bourbon, so
But I'm not a
it gets to the point where like some of the stuff it just doesn't matter anymore. It's just is it cold? Does it got alcohol in it? Sweet, hook it up.
I don't like IPAs. I just feel like they're attacking my face.
IPAs are
Could you explain that, please?
They're just
they're thicker and
Like, you gotta chew
no. The hops are just very aggressive.
them? Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
I don't enjoy hops.
and this one I may or may not like it. The West Coast stuff is really like more bitter. The East like New England style is always more smoother and like
The only IPA I've ever had that
I like the St.
I'll
Louis
drink
style.
more than one. The only IPA I've had that I'll drink more than one is that Founders All Day IPA.
yeah.
I'll drink a couple of those.
Easy
Yeah.
Eddies are pretty easy to drink. Have you had those from Big Grove?
No, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I've never had one.
Yeah.
I generally, if I see IPA,
That's
on,
the term is session ice IPA, right?
those are the ones
Yeah.
that are.
They're lighter, they're lower alcohol volume, they're not nearly as bitter. There's a hoppy flavor, but it's like it's kind of it's just like think about like good vodka versus like shitty vodka, right?
I like shitty vodka, but anyway.
Put in
But
orange
you-
juice,
or-
Yeah.
Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but you get what I'm talking about, like where it's like it doesn't. There's
I
less,
know
less
exactly what you're
burn.
talking
It's just
about.
yeah.
Moral of the story is a regular IPA, I drink it, I hate it. A session IPA, I drink it, and I'll finish the
You
can.
tolerate it?
Yeah.
And say, thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Can I have something else?
Have a Bush Light.
But I finished my can.
Yeah.
What else is on your docket? I kind of want to know.
Well, I want to talk about the Missouri trip that we went on.
We beat the brakes off.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes. That was probably, especially at night, that's probably the most successful nighttime blue cat trip maybe in history.
No, but definitely in our history.
5 fish for roughly just under 300 pounds. Anywhere from 280 to 300 pounds.
Like 285 to 295.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we had another 65, a couple 40s, several 20s.
Yeah.
Then the next day, I don't think we had a 60 that day, but we got another 40 something, some 20s.
Rob came, brought the bad luck, he left, and then I had some put clients on a 55 5 minutes in.
How did-
Yeah, you
and
just
that's
didn't
what I
take-
was-
You just didn't take. We did all the experiment. You didn't use me in the experiment.
We did waste a lot of time just driving north.
You know what?
It was a nice boat ride though. Like a nice boat ride on a
You were very
unseasonably warm
Spencer.
fall day.
Spencer. I'll give you credit where credit's due. You're very transparent that you were experimenting, and I was just like, I'm good with this. Like, let's just.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's not about catching them all. It's about having a good time. Yeah, it was top to bottom, pretty darn good trip. It was a complete trip, you know, like in years past you'd go somewhere, or at least I would go somewhere and you'd have you'd either have time where you're figuring them out, then you figure them out and the fishing's good, or you have them dialed up and then weather'd come through and things would suck, and then maybe it would get better towards the end, maybe it wouldn't. But this was a trip, it was slower when you were there, but it was still good.
I was gonna say, you guys got some.
We caught 7 fish.
Yeah.
Up to 40 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like it was bad, but it was the best I'd ever seen, to above average to more above average.
Yeah.
That's complete. That's like the complete trip.
I think I reeled in 3 fish because my shoulder was all screwed up.
What was the smallest one? What was the third one? Because you had
Like a 40.
Okay.
I had an 87, a 65, and a 40 something.
Yeah.
Was the 3 fish that I reeled in.
So you reeled in 3 for 190 pounds, 200, pushing maybe 200 pounds.
Like salt, it's like, it gets to be like saltwater fishing, really. With, you know, you add the current with
The only
fish that
thing
are
they're
that
missing
heavy,
is
they have a little
they
extra.
just don't do the
runs.
50 to 100
Yeah.
foot runs.
Yeah.
You know, they'll give you.
They don't do a Jack Crevalle
No.
type. Yeah.
No, man, it'd be cool if they did. You need to go catch one.
That'd be awesome.
And anybody that listens to this podcast at this point in time, props.
You need better hobbies, first of all.
Yes.
And one of them needs to be fishing for Jack Crevalle, because they're one of them fish that people who live on the coast talk shit on, but pound for pound, they're the hardest fighting thing I've ever hooked into in my life.
They're
Like,
insane.
I've heard people say, man, if bluegills got 30 pounds, I wouldn't fish for nothing else. Bullshit, because I call him a Jack Crevalle, and people talk shit on him, okay? So,
Here's the one thing, though. When you cut them open, they're not like a bluegill.
no, you're not going to
So
eat them.
I
Well,
did.
people can.
I did. It wasn't terrible. We had a little bit of mahi too. They made on the half the mahi made fresh ceviche on the boat.
Sure.
That was friggin' killer.
I bet.
Unbelievable.
I love ceviche.
Oh,
I've
man.
never had fresh fish ceviche, and I'm sure that's like
I'm gonna tell you right
step
now.
up from what
Yeah,
I've
like straight, like no gimmick bullshit ingredients or anything. Like cutting up, jalapenos, tomatoes, and onions and all that. Like watch them do it all. Cuts up that fish, lime, all that stuff, cilantro, mixes it all up together, has some tostadas, and there you go.
Mhm.
That's what we ate. Like that fish was straight raw, except for all
It's still breathing.
well, yeah, well, all the acidity of that stuff, basically cooks it, but it was killer. Like that was the best ceviche
That's
ever.
ceviche.
It's hard for me to even like someone orders it, or it's like I've been spoiled. Anyway, we had another fillet of that, and then we had this Jack Crevalle. We go in and
We had all these walleye fillets, and then we had this carp.
That's
Which carp is
but
apparently not bad.
we ate it, and it was, the chef did what he could, but what we nicknamed it was beef of the sea, because it was kind of a meaty texture, and it was dark.
Yep, they're very dark. I've chopped up a lot.
And that's
of
probably
Jack
why they're
Crevalles.
fast.
Yeah.
But I
Oh yeah,
tried-
it looks like a massacre when you bleed them, right?
Oh yeah, look, yeah. There's a pool of
Which-
blood, like.
All makes sense of going back to why they have the ability to fight so hard. They have such.
Their cardio.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
They train at elevation.
Yeah.
So.
I worked
anyway,
out
it was-
today. My cardio. Not
Yeah.
solid.
Jack
I'm-
Crevalle.
You are bluegill status, not Jack Crevalle status.
So if tuna is chicken of the sea, then they're beef of the sea.
Sure. And Gar's pork of the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, the Jack Crevalles, they got that.
Yeah.
Any fish that's got that deep forked tail, freaking gonna be fast.
Yeah.
Crazy thing about them, they have the speed tail, but they still got the endurance.
But they also have a body that they can use that as a resistance too.
Right.
Because they're like
That's true. So
hand shaped, so that they get perpendicular to you.
that's why flatheads don't usually go on long sustained runs, fast ones, because they have the broomstick tail, or not stick, but the broom head tail, where they got that torque, where they can do them short bursts, just,
Mm-hmm.
but it's short.
Yeah, pike and muskies do that.
Yes, yep, same deal. Flathead's got the endurance, partially because of the tail, partially because they're well rested because they're lazy pieces of shit.
I'm saving it.
I got a good story. I think I've told you this story, Spencer. So, up at Lake of the Woods, my cousin's father-in-law. So he has a Hughes Craft. Are you familiar with Hughes Craft? They're kind of like an Alaskan guide boat.
I looked real hard at my
Yeah.
Problem is they're underpowered.
So, great, pretty good. I shouldn't say great, but good, very good boat for Lake of the Woods because
It's a big water boat.
yeah, and it can get rough, and that boat can take on some rough water.
It's just gonna go slow.
It's got a vinyl.
It's just gonna go 37 miles an hour.
It can go about 40. Thank you. Full throttle, and there's smooth, but
And the wind was at your back.
You got to sail up.
the reality is like very rarely on that lake are you gonna be able to go. It's so rare when we can go full throttle because of the waves.
Right.
Doesn't matter. The point being is, so Scott, my
Hey, you're the one who brought up Hughes Craft.
yeah. So, well, yeah. I'm not hyping it up. At any rate, he has a it's got like the vinyl deck and everything, and flies can get like ridiculously bad out. Like you're several miles offshore and
You hit a swarm.
it's like geez, there's still flies out here. And I guess Scott figured out that if you get some like Dawn dish soap and a mop and a bucket and you mop down the deck of the boat, the flies won't be as bad. Well, we go all the way up from.
But you slip.
Yeah, well.
And fall.
Trust me, this story gets better.
Better than that.
So and to know, so he's a very OCD guy. Like keeps everything he owns pristine, which I respect the hell out of.
100%.
But sometimes it gets to the point where it's like
Excessive. Like
it's excessive and a little bit of like annoying to a point where you're like, can we just go? Like, do you have to really do that right now? Type of thing.
Sure.
And he does.
He'll pass up fishing all the time because he has a project, his house that he wants to get done. And like if I owned a house up the Lake of the Woods, I'd be fishing every freaking day, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we go.
That mindset doesn't get you a house at Lake of the Woods.
So we go all the way. Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I don't own one. So we're out fishing and we have this guy's trip, and it's cool because Scott likes to lay back a little bit and say, I'm not driving the boat, I'm gonna drink beer, you guys are you young boys
doesn't
are
want to drive his boat.
Yeah, because
he kind of anal about how you drive his boat.
No, he's actually pretty good about that part.
Okay.
Like, unless you're being a reckless asshole, then he might say something. But as long as you're
as he should,
or get
nothing,
or get dirt on his boat.
No, he trusts. He let me drive it. He trusts his son-in-laws to drive it, and he only has daughters, so this is kind of like, so it's me and Tanner and Luke on the boat. So this is kind of his like the sons he never had, right?
The boys,
yeah.
And so we go buzzing up north of Garden Island of Lake of the Woods on the islands, and we just hammer them. We have our limit, early afternoon, but we hadn't caught any big fish, and so Luke and I convinced him, let's, instead of hammering back to the ramp and back to the house, let's take it slow. Let's get the lead core out and get the big, Smithwick P10s and tail dancers and things like that.
Dog.
Yeah, because that's where the big girls are hanging out, is in that big basin. Mm-hmm. And so we're cruising along, and I didn't even know he kept a mop and Dawn dish soap. And all of a sudden, we're just cruising. We hadn't had a bite, and he starts pouring all this freaking Dawn dish soap all over and starts mopping the deck of the boat. He gets water, he has like a hose and
He doesn't have a spray down pump?
He does, yeah, and it leaks, goes off the deck so he can clean it and get it all nice and pristine. And I'm like,
so he's
doing that, yeah.
We might have caught water out of the lake.
Yeah, we might have caught a couple like 23, 24 inches, not the big 28 to plus that we're looking for. But he starts doing this, and I've never seen him. Really, why are you cleaning the boat? We're not done fishing. Or even then, you're really cleaning your boat with, you're really mopping the deck of your boat. I was like, good for you. Like, you really like it clean. And I started giving him shit. And I've kind of gotten to the point with him where, I can nudge them a little bit.
Yeah.
But you also have to have the social awareness to know, like, when you're, like, taking it a little too far. And I kind of felt like, I don't think he's appreciating your joke, Rob. Like, I think he's
You might just want to shut up, buddy.
He's interpreting this, you're just talking shit. And so but I started nudging him a little bit, and I said, Scott, do you know what's going to happen? He's like, what, Rob? I was like, one of these rods is going to go off, and it's going to be a big, gnarly freaking donkey, and we're going to net it, and it's just going to be flopping on the deck of this boat, and all your hard work went to waste. And he's like, whatever, so what, I'll just do it again.
It happened.
It happened. It was like within 5 minutes of me doing that, and I finally backed off. And I was actually driving the boat because we had the kicker motor in. I'm just like putting along, and all of a sudden the rod folds over, and Luke grabs it, reels it in. And I was like, "Good one, Luke?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a good one." And I was like, "It's like, what do you think?" And it's like, "I don't know, it's fighting kind of weird." And then all of a sudden he's like, "I don't know, it's coming up to the surface." It comes all the way up to the surface. It's a freaking giant pike. It leaps way out. I was like, oh.
So that's like...
Cut the line!
I'm just sitting there like, oh, we're going to have some slime on the deck now. And I can tell, like, we get it to the boat, and it's a Magnum. It's like 43 incher.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Like a big one.
Yeah.
For a pike, I mean, that's
I've
well
never
over
seen-
20 pounds.
Well, I've seen... It's funny, the top two biggest pike I've ever seen in my life, I caught a 36. And then the next biggest one was 49.
Oh,
That's a giant.
Yeah.
Where's the 49 at?
Ontario.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's a freaking huge.
Yeah.
No, 49 and a half. It was, couldn't quite get her to 50.
I mean, that's a big muskie, let alone a big pike.
Right.
yeah.
It's the biggest northern I've ever heard.
Freaking
of.
alligator.
Giant northern.
Caught it on a Zebco 202.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
White
Wow.
twister tail.
Yeah,
Nope.
picture of that. I've never seen a picture of that one. That's a giant.
It was caught by Jim Carr, ex-Southeast Warren math teacher up in Ontario on their annual trip to Packwash and Red Lake.
Oh, you didn't catch it. It was
I did not
Oh,
catch
you
it.
just one you've seen. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, Jesus, that's a freaking.
It ate half a bluegill imported from Iowa.
Well,
I'll
sorry,
cut that out.
So
It was
Lucas
legal. It was dead.
Lucas is fish to the boat. I get it in the net, and
And you look.
I'm looking at Scott like, what do you want me to do? And Luke was wanting to, so he's got this lodge in South Dakota, and he's already got walleyes on the wall, and like trying to decorate. I'm like, we always said like a pike would be a cool addition of
43 inch would be a
Yeah.
good one for the
It's a
wall.
friggin' good one over the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm
Them
kinda,
Hughes crabs,
so I'm kind of like sitting
they
there
don't
like,
have a live well, so you can't just put it in the live well.
not true. This one does have a live well
Up front?
in the back, right on the back.
Oh,
Yep, right on the stern of the boat.
I
yeah.
stand corrected. You should have just put it in the live well.
Well, we did, but I mean, you're talking about a guy who like Dawn dish soap and a hose goes in the live well every time after we get done fishing. Like the live well will not stink ever. Like there's just you could just see the heartache on his.
He's
his
like,
face,
put it on
but
his
at the same
stringer.
time,
We'll
like,
just drag it
but it
in.
was just like, fine, just do it, and like, you know, you put it in, and it's like flopping all over, and there's like, it's like Slimer and Ghostbusters. I'm just like dying, I'm almost dying. I was like, I can't keep a straight face. I was like, I told you, Scott, and it's like Rob, I don't need your fucking attitude. You know?
Who invited this guy?
Yeah. Don't bother coming back the next year.
Maybe the next one would have been a 32-inch walleye.
Yeah.
You never know. Walleyes aren't nearly as slimy though, so
No.
that would have been a lot easier.
That's one thing I appreciate about them. Easy to grab. They got a lot of admirable qualities.
They do. If they didn't have the
gill plates,
The gill plates.
and then the dorsal fin, they'd be
yeah,
the softest
The
fish
gill
on the planet.
I'd say the gill plates more than the dorsal fin. And a lot of fish have that.
Trying to think of one that don't.
Pike.
Doesn't the fin towards the tail top one doesn't have
All of them are soft. Pike have all soft fins. Their armor is all in the mouth.
Yeah. It's the only one I can think of, though. Because all the cats got pokey fins. Bluegills.
Luckily, at least with cats, they only have one on the top.
Well, they got two on the sides.
Yeah. But so do a lot of...
And theirs are
When you talk about like white bass and wipers who are...
Oh, they're the worst.
God, they got them on their... They got them on their anal fin. Like, what? Why do you need spikes on your anal fin?
If they had teeth, how would you pick them up? You'd have to gripper
You
them.
have to gaff them, yeah.
You have to shoot them. Shoot them.
12 gauge. What are you doing? Catching white bass?
And nobody bat an eye if they had teeth.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, if they had teeth, yeah, I'd be like, I'm out. Never mind. They're fun, but can't do it. Or we'd have to have like, steel mesh gloves or I don't know.
I don't know if that even take care of
They're
it.
freaking wicked, and the other thing about them is they don't let you touch them.
No, they don't.
How many attempts before you actually are able to lift them? Like at bare minimum, I'd say the average is 3 attempts before you actually get your thumb nice grip where they,
Easily. That's a conservative number. I can think of, anytime you throw something with treble hooks, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's half the reason why I don't like using them, especially if we're,
but rattle traps work.
I get
Other
it.
things
I
won't.
just still rather catch them on a swim bait because
Or whopper ploppers.
Like,
work.
can I just have one hook instead of 6?
The problem is they want to chase sometimes,
I know.
and you could jerk a swim.
Zara spooks and
Whopper ploppers.
whopper ploppers. Yeah, I know.
And then
They work.
rattle traps. Every time I've had to yank a treble hook out of somebody's hand, it's because of stupid wiper. I say stupid, like...
Yeah. Stupid awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stupid awesome fish.
It's awesome until it's not. It's awesome until
But
the
I've
barb
started,
is all the way in your skin.
I've started gripping more of them. Like if I catch one in the boat, I use grips on
Oh, I use grips all the time with them, especially if you got like women or kids. Like here, let me.
But on the
touch
bank,
that.
I never have them with me.
Because you
when
get
I'm
people
walking
that don't
the bank.
know any better, and they see this like, oh, that's a cute little fish.
Hey, he's got
It's like,
stripes on it.
It ain't cute at all. Don't.
Cute little asshole.
Arm and teeth. It's like
Yeah.
it's like what landmine do you want to touch first? The dorsal fin, the pectoral fins,
Yeah.
the anal fin. Oh, how about the sharp? Thing walleyes have razor sharp gill plates.
They're way worse.
They're way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like serrated knives.
Yeah. The only thing they're missing is teeth. And if they had them, they'd be teeth. They'd be like bluefish teeth. Like take the
They're like
top of your-
shark teeth. Yeah.
Take your thumb off.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right, fellas. I got to get rolling home. So let's wrap her up a little bit. And
We don't do a last cast or what?
yeah, let's do a last
is that
cast.
tradition over with or what?
I haven't done them for a while, but my podcast has kind of mellowed a little bit. Like we
It's probably good.
don't have really a forum of any sorts. Most of mine have been on boats lately. Like I
Yeah.
do them on location and stuff. So
It's a,
Whatever
not
works.
a bad way to do it.
yeah. At least we can fish a little bit, have a good time. But yeah, let's do a last cast, Rob. It's been a while since we
Yeah,
hung out for
absolutely.
sure. So
Yeah,
thanks for
last
coming over.
cast. I mean, so we're gonna be in November. I don't know.
Yeah, today's
got
Halloween.
officially, 2 hours. And we'll be in November.
Happy Halloween in the meantime.
Yes, happy Halloween. Yeah, for the short term.
Glad you dressed up.
Yeah. Dressed up as a fisherman.
I suppose I need to get my walleye acting gear. I've been very much slacking. Now I've just been distracted with other things.
I was
That's
just
kinda
thinking like,
happening.
oh, next week I'll go. Wait, no, I won't.
Well,
Maybe the week after that. We'll see what the weather looks like.
yeah.
Yeah, I need to.
Could be 20 below by then.
It might be.
I need to recommit myself on that. I've just been doing a lot of other things between work and
I got a
other
spot
things, and
that me and you talked about that I'll let you know when I go there.
yeah. Yeah, there's a handful of spots I would like to put some time in, and then get the tag filled for archery there. I've killed a few does, but I can tee off on them all day. But
yeah, get a hold of me when you get your buck, and I'll make a weekend. We'll come down and just slaughter a raccoon.
Yeah, I probably need to do that for sure.
Hopefully before it freezes. Once they freeze, they kind of tree up and they don't move very hard.
Maybe run some coyote traps while we're at it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Trying to just balance that thing, you know, of life and work and fun, and so. But yeah, hopefully can put something on the ground, get that done. Some walleyes in
to make it sound like it's a chore.
No, it's not a chore. It's just a goal.
Hopefully,
a goal.
Hopefully, I get the dishes put away.
Yeah.
And then I can go walleye fishing.
Yeah, throw that 200 pointer on.
You know what is funny
is
that it does. Like every year, I always make it sound that way, as if filling my buck tag, my archery tag, is like a chore.
Mm-hmm. We've got so much invested in it, though.
You do. It's more. I hate saying it's a goal that I hate failing at.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I just don't want to kill any old deer too. It's like, so, you know, the measurement of success is very subjective.
Yeah.
Your measurement of success is whatever you decide success is.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the point.
Like when we went hunting, I shot a doe. It was success.
Yeah.
Well, that was the goal.
But you go into the season with kind of a predetermined success. Like you have a particular deer or 2 or 3.
It's the same concept.
That you want.
I want to kill something old.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
But you do enough research on your own land that you know what's around, unless something weird changes.
For the most part,
you know what's there.
Like the one
you have a hit list.
The one I really wanted to kill, the one I intentionally did not kill last year, I've been informed is no longer alive. I haven't seen the pictures to 100% verify that he's not alive, but the source is telling me he's pretty reliable. So,
and
I'm gonna chalk him up as he's off the list, and now it's. But the cool thing is,
that's like your dog dying.
Yeah.
You know, that was your hit list.
No, it's not. Because you don't want your dog to die.
Well, he didn't want that deer to die.
Well,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, just not
by other people.
Right. I don't want.
He wasn't big enough for me to be like that disappointed about it. It's just like it's on to the next, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
there'll be some other random deer that'll show up, and you'll be like, "Oh my god! Thank God someone killed that other one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
189 one.
You're in prime deer country, man.
The cool part is we're getting that time of year where a lot of weird things can happen.
Yeah,
we're in the wild card, so
180 inch deer could show
patterns and trail camera pictures are only as relevant as.
Yesterday.
Yes, or even, not even yesterday. Sometimes within a few hours.
Yeah, they could move counties.
Yeah.
And the next week.
Yeah, their home ranges are growing. It changes a lot of things, and the cool part is new bucks can show up, and with what I've had on camera, that's kind of a cool thing. I actually had a new one show up. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. So.
That's cool. Welcome to the herd.
Yeah. So He's not a giant, but I think if he showed up, I'd probably kill him.
Yeah.
So he looked like he was of age, and I was like, you know what?
He's an intruder.
Well,
you're not my herd.
But yeah, definitely.
The outsider.
You know what, Spencer? The doe thing is I'm starting to become more and more of a fan of just harvesting does.
You ain't gonna
fun.
Kill a monster. You might as well just shoot.
It's you know what it is? It's real similar to we're not going to bump anymore. We're just going to set lines, and we're going to start a fire, and we're going to start drinking beer. And it's kind of like that to an extent.
Yep.
Low pressure, like
we're
not taking anything too seriously. That we're here to do it.
And if you spook one, big deal. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. No, there's plenty of them. I was talking to my neighbor about it too, and he was he agrees that we gotta do something. There's just too many of them. They chow our food plots down. I believe it has an effect. If biologists know what they're talking about as far as like maximizing antler growth, having too many deer is a problem that just stresses out the herd. And
so more of the story is you're gonna kill some deer.
Yep, we got two down so far this year, and the goal would be, so we did 12 last year. Allegedly that had no effect according to my neighbors and based on my trail cameras.
You know, when you said, hey, you want to kill a doe, and I'm like counting up the numbers of people that would show up and kill a doe in your place, I'm like, it's not going to make any difference, but I will gladly kill a doe.
Yeah, because it'll make a difference in my freezer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And here's my thoughts on it is like, maybe it's not making like a major impact, but everything, it's just kind of like
Trickle effect.
your vote doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Well, it does matter, and that's a pretty
good
the
analogy.
attitude I have to have of it is like, okay, this has just got to be, and I gotta. The cool part is, so my neighbor to the south, I asked him about like, you know, maybe we can get depredation tags or something like going.
You could.
And
100%.
his biggest challenge, right? Because he was all in about like, let's tee off on some does. His biggest challenge is the same thing I had, is finding hunters that want the meat.
Yeah.
I can tell he's the same way. I don't want to just kill him and just chuck him in a field and let him rot.
And I wouldn't want you to.
I'm happy to get some more to him. Like, in fact, what I would love to do is, rather than me just shooting and here's a field dressed deer, you know, as a VFW, is there a veteran that wants to go pull the trigger?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a lot better than.
That would be cool.
That's way more fun for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Watching people that enjoy doing it. Sure. Or you and I just sitting in the blind shooting some shit and not taking any life too seriously.
Oh,
there it is. That's the one. That,
like, I don't.
Hopefully, if we can go on one of those nights where there's a hard cold front and there's a whole bunch of them coming out.
There's nothing better.
It's interesting watching them just, you know, they how they interact and how they socialize when they're out on the dinner table together. And
yeah.
It's so funny watching them, like two does that like get all bitchy and it's like,
I'm gonna end this.
Yeah, it's like,
take that one out.
What
She's in the wrong. Take her out.
That's my piece of corn. That's my corn cob, right?
I'm not a deer hunter.
Puzzling, like what makes them want to do that? Like
too many X chromosomes. That's all there is to it. Just doesn't make shit work right.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm not a deer hunter at all, but yeah, it's a good time. You just kick back, relax, enjoy the
comfortable.
day.
We can turn the heat on if it's cold. I don't think it was that cold when you and I went, was it?
No. It was like, perfect. It was 30 degrees, no wind.
Yeah, we didn't even have to turn the heat on, did we?
It's a good deal.
Yeah, you get them down to like 10. It's nice to take the chill off a little bit.
Ryan, what's your last cast, bud?
Well, Rob, I just want to thank you. It's been a while since we hung out. We kind of tentatively had something going a couple months ago, but it never worked out.
Oh yeah, Jesse, there you go. You get
Because
you need to do one with him.
I had a podcast.
Jesse
Smith.
But yeah, I had a podcast drop off like a Tuesday night, and I planned on doing one on Wednesday. So I just threw something on Facebook, and I had a bunch of people that said they'd jump on, and him and Jesse were one we were going to do on a boat. But I had somebody that could come over to my house real quick the next day and do one, so I did it that one. I never got
Jesse
back to
Smith up by Boone.
Yeah. He lives in Nevada. No, he's a good
Exactly.
dude. Well, he was there to, he landed my first 30 through the ice, so.
Oh, hell yeah. Anyway, I just want to thank you.
Cheers.
You know, yeah, absolutely.
You're
my spitter.
Your spitter, right?
I'm not drinking it.
Don't drink that.
I'm out. So
But no, trapping season starts in 4 days, so about time to start getting traps ready.
If you want to go trap.
But me and Jay have a competition the opening night. We're each getting 25 traps. We're going to go out And every raccoon's 1 point, every bycatch is a half point, because we're gonna raccoon trap.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a competition just to make it fun.
So my vendetta with coons comes with them climbing on my trail cameras and knocking my clothes. And destroying them.
They've got anything out of the ordinary. They just want to.
Once that happens, they've destroyed $300 trail cameras. Yeah, it's war.
It's go time. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to trapping season, then transfer over to ice fishing season. That's
Hopefully we can
way
get some ice fishing in before I take off.
Yeah, it's kind of way my world progresses.
I'll be around for Christmas.
I'm not overly excited for ice fishing.
I'm not excited, but I'm not excited.
I'm excited to come down and
passes
visit you
the time.
and at the new homestead.
Channel catting through the ice is a good time.
And they're fun.
But yeah, like down at
They're
the
not
new
80s.
homestead,
How about Bluecats through the ice?
Wouldn't know. You would.
Maybe we should. I do know. It's pretty
I-
cool if you get on a school of them too. Like you catch multiples of them.
If I'm gonna chase
crazy.
blues, I want to chase blues that are big.
Yeah, but it's different.
No, I'm sure it is, but if I'm
It's just
gonna
like
travel,
pan fishing, right? Like very few people would say I think it's cooler to catch a crappie open water than through the ice.
I won't. I don't really fish for them except through the ice.
I spring fish them when mushrooms are out. I'll spring fish them and then have a mushroom crappie
Yeah,
feed.
because they're easy to catch.
Yeah.
I should fish crappies more. I was thinking about that the other day, that I'm gonna start trying to do some more crappie fishing.
The opportunities are all over. That's the best part.
Well, yeah, like Iowa crappies are just as good as Bama crappies.
Well, if you multiple species, if you really like time it, like
That's the key to
okay, I can be a
Iowa
walleye
fishing.
fisherman all year round, right? Or I'll just focus on those key times or
No,
something.
that's the key to Iowa.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what I've done my whole life. Is like this time frame. This like you have your favorites, obviously, but like different times of year, it's going to be better for XYZ.
Yeah.
Or different years have different water conditions that make them better for XYZ. Like I've had years in the past that were very good flathead seasons. Then maybe another year the flatheads weren't so great, but the wipers were real good. Or going up north, like the wipers were not as present. There were still some, but they were more seasonal, so you'd hit them in season, and then other times I'd be doing more walleye fishing. It's just where the water's up, so I'm gonna hit creek mouths for walleyes, and the water's low, so I'm gonna fish riffles for channel cats. It's like just take advantage of what Mother Nature gives you.
Yeah.
And when in doubt, hit smallmouth.
Yeah.
This smallmouth is Charlie.
Speaking of smallmouth, Spencer, if we get one more warmer day,
Do you think it'd be good with this low water?
I think it'll be fine. They'll be in there. That pool is. They're not going to go anywhere. Where else? They have nowhere else to go.
I thought that with the flatheads too.
They went somewhere.
And they just died.
They just
They just
did.
died.
Alright, I need another beer, so I'm gonna
All right.
make my last cast short and sweet. I'm gonna go fishing.
Hope you catch a giant,
Hope you
right?
catch a giant.
Thanks, guys. See
I
you
hope
next
I
week.
catch a giant.